Hello, Tim here with Marsgohome, and I wanted to go over this After Effects template real quick. Now, as you can see, this is an After Effects template file, and once you download it, you'll have a couple files in here. As far as the fonts, if you do not have, for some reason, Arial, here's links to get Arial, and the VCR OSD mono font is optional if you'd like to get that. It's all free. You'll have a README file, and then you'll have this folder right here, which will contain the AET file. Now, this file is just a template file. You can, once you open it up and you make all your changes, if you save it, it'll ask you to save it as a new file, so this original file doesn't get messed up, just in case if you need to go back to the original. So once you open it up, this is what you'll have. Pretty simple here. The VHS controls is just this top layer, and the rest of them are hidden, but you can click this little guy right here and reveal all the other layers. But just to keep it clean, it's right here. If you go over to the effects controls, you'll have all your different controls for everything that this template has. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and just drop in a piece of footage right here. Now, how you replace this footage is that there's a comp here that says replace footage, and it is under the main comps and in the edit comps area. So let's just go ahead and just drag this in here. I am going to just turn the volume off right now. Now, this comp is set to 5 minutes. If you do not want it at 5 minutes, say you have a piece of footage that's this long, we can go ahead and just select it, hit O on the keyboard, and press N to trim the comp down. Then we'll right click here and just do trim the comp length. Now, here's a little trick I do is I set the playhead at the very end, go back to our composite render, and our playhead should stay right there, and you can hit N right there to trim the comp, and then trim comp to work area. You should be set to go. So as you can see, it populates already and with basic parameters. Let's go up to the effects controls and let's just go line by line here. We'll start with the color. The highlights, this is for if your footage is different. Every piece of footage is going to be different. Some's going to be darker, some's going to be lighter, some's going to be crunchier, worse off. So you get to just play with all these little parameters here to make it look how you would like to look. And everything here is pretty self-explanatory. If it's too dark or not dark enough, you can crush the dark values here, lighten them up. And if we go to the temperature frequency, the temperature animation right here, and go to the frequency, this footage has a slight temperature shift going from cool to warm. And if we just boost this up, I think to all the way to 10, I do believe. And let's boost this up to 50. This will give you like a flickering effect, but I want to show you exactly what it does. Here, let's start it towards the end here. See how it gives that flickering effect. So we can drop this down, mess with it for however fast we want to do it, and the amount. This will be more subtle, just a slight shift in color. So that's the color area. Pretty simple. Down in the degradation area, if we zoom in here, there's interlacing that's turned on already. You can turn that off if you don't want it and keep it on. Totally up to you, but I like to have that option. The color degradation kind of messes with the white balance, the quality of the camera itself, and we can turn this on, and there's a couple presets in here that you can do. Yellow green gives it that yellow green tint over the whole thing. Blue gives it more of a light blue over everything. And then I have a custom here to where you can choose your custom color. Now, how this works is almost the opposite of the color wheel. You know, back in the day when we used to do short films using even like the mini DV cameras, and we wanted to burn into the tape a certain color temperature, if we white balanced the camera to say like a red, it will give us a green tint, and vice versa. So this kind of works the same way. So if you just keep the color selection at the very top here, depending on how the white's going to be less strong, going further is going to be stronger. So if you just keep it at the very top, say right here, and then take this slider on the actual color bar and shift it, this can give you your own custom color. So that's kind of like how this works. Now the static full frame, that's what this is just that, how much crunch do you want to give it? Obviously, if you go up too far, it's going to look funky. But if you want a little bit more, something like this, and it all moves, it's all animated. And the grain full frame is just that. It gives it more grain, you know, and it's easy to go overboard on a lot of stuff. If you want to give it more crunch, you can do that. The ghosting full frame, that kind of gives it the hazy effect, and we can boost that up even further. You know, you can use that for even a dream sequence if you want. Maybe the lens itself is a little fogged up. Maybe it's really humid outside. You know, whatever. And then we have extra elements here. The tape warp is going to be just the warp that travels up and from the bottom to the top of the frame. And it's very, very subtle. You can see it right here. So you can choose to keep it on, keep it off. Totally up to you. And all these settings here, for the most part, you can go in and edit if you would like. Maybe the tape warp is not strong enough. You can go into the matte itself and mess with the matte. Completely up to you. I'll go ahead and hide all this stuff. Let's see, where were we? Turn this on. The tape wobble effect is kind of like the waviness of the entire frame itself. Zoom in here just a little bit, and I just kind of cycle through it. Not much tape wobble. All the way up. Really kind of gives it that wavy effect. So that's that. So if you want that completely off, just turn it to 0. The static full frame pops is going to be like these little white lines that pop up. You know, say right here. And it's all over the place. In fact, if I just go and solo this layer, do a preview, show you exactly what it's doing here. So it just kind of gives these static white pops throughout. And you can make them stronger. You can raise it up, raise this number up if you'd like more. Again, a lot of the stuff it's easy to go overboard on, so I like to keep things subtle. That's just me. All right, so that is the degradation. Now to the frame elements. This comes with the side frames. These side frames right here on the left and the right. And you have the option to turn them off or turn them on. Also, in a lot of this old footage, the top of the frame kind of has this, it loses the chroma value and only keeps the luminance. So what I did here is just kind of have that little bit of black and white desaturation on this. And you can choose to turn that off or keep it on. Just for some added fun, I also added some top color bleed up here. It's kind of a greenish bleed that shifts colors ever so slightly. You can turn that up a lot, have more, turn it all the way down to get rid of it completely. And then we have an area here for just the bottom of the frame. I'll zoom down here. Again, there's color bleed also down here on the corner and at the bottom. You can turn it off if you'd like or keep it on. The video errors, which is this strip right here at the very, very bottom here, you can turn that off, keep it on. Same thing with the static lines themselves. You can make them stronger. The frequency is just how often it moves. The amount, that's kind of like the size of it. Right now it's a little bit too big. So I like to keep these numbers super small. And then down to the camera text area. If you do not want camera text on it at all, just take it off. If you'd like to keep it on. Now there's a couple presets here for different styles. They're very simple styles. This first style basically just has the time and the date on the left hand side. The second style moves it to the right hand side. Third style is left hand side but has the, this is where that VCR mono font comes in, and use that. Style 4 does the same thing, pushes it to the side here. And one thing to keep to know is that this time is in real time. If this was back at 5 minutes at the end, it will be 12:05, and I'll get to that in a second here after this. Now you also have a custom style here in which you have the custom UI, and in here you can get rid of this. You can put anything else you want in here and have it be selectable. So do whatever you like in here. All right, so back to style 1. And maybe you don't want the time. You can turn it off. Maybe you want PM. This time speed here is if this is at 1, it'll be in real time. If we boost this up all the way, it'll actually kind of go 5 times the speed. You can get the hour to start. Say you want it to be 3 o'clock p.m., 3 p.m. Maybe you want it 3:27 p.m. And it'll still count in real time. So the counter will start wherever you place it here. Same thing with the date. You can turn it off. Maybe you just want, maybe you just want the stuff at the very top. You know, it's completely up to you. But you have the option to turn it off. Here are all the months you can start with. Maybe you want it March. Here's the day. Maybe you want it the 31st. And the year 2012. I don't know. So there you go. Whatever date you would like. Now the tape speed is not the actual speed of the tape. It's just the UI itself. You can turn it off. Standard play, long play, and super long play. And the same thing with the tape length. Now, I thought about linking these together, but I thought I'd just give you the option if you like to keep it or not. Usually the standard play would be the shorter length of tape. The super long play would be the longer, because you're trying to cram more information on the same physically amount of tape. So if you do something like this, I would really, kind of think about really crapping up the image quality. If you keep it, say, right here, have much cleaner image quality. And that's just, something to think about. But you can turn it off. So that is pretty much how you use this template. And again, all this stuff is pretty much editable. Not that you can eat it, but you can try. And if you royally screw up, just close it out, open it up again. So that is that. If you found any of this helpful or useful, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. You know the thing. Until next time, young scholars, stay rad, stay cool, stay creative.